Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to those of you in other parts of the world and across the country. I am Leo Brown, and welcome to another edition of today's Psychic's Perspective. Okay, so today we are doing a perspective on someone whom I have admired for quite some time. I've admired his business sense and his knowledge and what he does, and the fact that he really wants to help people to heal their voices. I'm talking about vocal coach, model, singer, podcaster, which I actually would love to be a guest of one day. Love his podcast. Um, Eric Arceneaux. And it's funny because for the longest time, I could not pronounce his last name. I was always afraid I was going to mess it up or screw it up or say it wrong. But I finally got it right, I think. But before I get into today's psychic perspective, make sure you like, make sure you rate, make sure you comment, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. I'm glad you guys are loving my content thus far. There will be more to come, and I am going to be doing things with more bells and whistles. So well, that's the hope, that's the goal. My intention in doing this reading is to tell the truth. My intention in this reading is to provide insight for Mr. Arceneaux and his life. And my intention also in this reading is to provide, I guess, clarity, on certain things that he may or may not be thinking and wondering about. So, Mr. Arceneaux, if you watch this, I hope this does you well. And for those of you who are watching, if you like what I have said and what you see, you're more than welcome to log into my website, psychicleo.com. That's psychicleo.com. And you can follow me on all forms of social media. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. All right, Mr. Arceneaux. Eric Arceneaux. Let me ground my energy first. And let me also say that everything in this reading is subject to change. Nothing is 100% accurate. If I were 100% accurate, I'd be very rich and very thin. And as you can see, judging by the background and judging by my look, I'm neither one of those things. I'm working on it, but I'm not there yet. Okay. All right. So let's get it going. All right. Let me ground. Stop here. The first thing that pops in my head, Mr. Arceneaux, is Maryland. Maryland, Maryland, Maryland. I hear it like loud and clear. I don't know if I don't see you wanting to move back home on a permanent basis. I don't get that. Maryland, Louisiana, Maryland, Louisiana, Maryland, Louisiana. I literally see you. There's something you're going to do regarding a cross. I hate to use the word cross country. Well, I guess it is if you think about it. Cross country trip. I'm seeing you. I feel like there's something going on. What I'm hearing also is reconnection. Okay. I'm picking up you wanting to reconnect either with people in Maryland or Louisiana or both. And I'm getting like there's something within you that's like, I have to go back. I need to go back and just kind of reconnect, recharge, rest. I'm hearing that a lot. I hear you wanting to rest. I'm getting something to do with you and your back or the sides of your like the core, this part of the body. What else am I getting? Wow. I also pick up a sense of stability right now in your life. I feel like you want to be busy, but you really are someone who is very, very internal. You're very much a wintertime person. Like I literally see, it's funny. I see wintertime. I see forest. I see wolves. I see animals, like you're very much a nature person. Water, I hear water, flowing water, or like a pond, or not a river, but a pond. Something to do with rocks. I get that kind of energy from you. And I feel like right now in your life, your main goal is stability and peace of mind. I really get that you have put your body through a lot. I would say don't slow down on your workouts, but don't push yourself too hard. Don't push your body too much, because I feel like you really are about, like here's the thing, you have body acceptance, but I definitely feel like you're like, there's a goal and I have to meet that goal. You're a bit of a perfectionist, Mr. Arceneaux. I do pick that up a little bit. Um, I'm also seeing you write. I'm seeing you produce. I'm seeing you not just within, the vocal trainings, but I'm also seeing you wanting to lecture people about the music industry, or a lecture tour. There's something coming up where you're going to talk about the music, not just music itself, because music itself is your thing. But I also see you talking about the business end of the business, everything from copyrights to publishing to samples to clearance. Like there's something you're gonna end up doing, and I literally see you in a studio producing, because I see you telling somebody else what to sing, how to sing it, how to bring that. Yeah, and I also pick up a sense of spirituality. I get a lot to do with, dare I say, Asian spirituality or Eastern spirituality, everything from meditation to yin and yang. You're very much about balance. If it's not balanced, you won't do it. Or if you feel unbalanced, it does not work for you. You're very much about ebb and flow. And I'm also getting like Tai Chi around you, either as a practice or Qigong. If you know what that is, I get that energy from you. So many things are coming to me, so just bear with me. Um, I get a deep connection to your mother, I want to say. Well, not just your mother, but your parents, but I mainly get your mom. And I feel like you and your mother, it's like there's an inside joke that nobody knows. It kind of reminds me, and I hear it in my head. It reminds me of Soul Food, of when the little boy, he was narrating and he was talking about how his relationship with Big Mama, and how it was an inside joke that nobody knew. That's what I'm getting with you and your mom. And maybe that's why I'm seeing you wanting to go back. I don't know if your parents or if your folks still live in the Louisiana area, but I feel like for some reason maybe that's why I see you going back, because I feel like your family lineage is very important to you. You're very proud of who you are and where you come from, which you should be. Um, and dare I say, I don't know if you're involved, but I'm picking up wedding bells around you. I'm picking up a marriage. I'm picking up something to do with a unity, a unit. And it may not be a wedding in the typical sense, like a lot of us are thinking, but I'm seeing something like for me, it feels, if you are involved, okay, whoever this person is in your life, it's a very spiritual union. Uh, I feel like they really complete you. And if you haven't met this person, you're going to meet them, because whoever this person is, they literally are walking with you. And they not only are supportive, they're encouraging, they're funny, they're warm, like where you're kind of uh, you're internal, right? You everything is in here. For them, they're not outlandish, but they're, what's the word? Motivating. They're encouraging. They're very much like, just do it, just do it, just do it, just do it, baby. They're like that for you. And they push you to levels that I'm hearing you say, like, even when I don't even believe in myself. Um, I'm also picking up a lot to do with burnout for you a little bit. And it may not be physical burnout, but it's more of a mental burnout. Like I literally get a mental burnout around you where you're like, okay, I'm tired. Like you have to cut the world off. You just do. So lessen your social media. Uh, uh, Everything that's stimulating, lessen your caffeine or your tea, because I'm seeing tea around you instead of coffee. Um, get more sleep, please. Stop living in your head because you're all in here. You're all in your mind, as Mariah would say. Um, what else? And take some time to just be, and take some time to really to not saying that you don't do it, but I think you don't do it enough. Take some time to live in the moment, to live in the now. Because I feel like what I'm getting is that you can live in the moment, but you're also one of those people where it's like, I live in the moment, but you're also thinking about the next thing. Like what's next? What's next on the agenda? What's the next thing I have to do? Um, and I'm getting something to do with home improvements, either a remodel's coming up, like a bathroom remodel. There's something you're gonna end up doing. For me, it feels like your bathroom. Your bathroom or either your bathroom or like a closet, or there's something you're gonna do regarding your house that you've been wanting to do anyway, because it's so interesting. Aside from you being a great vocal teacher, right? I'm seeing you being someone that loves to create. You love to build. You love crafting. Um, Maybe not a gardener per se, but I do see you being outdoors. And somebody around you is a cook. Somebody around you loves food. And I feel like you may not be a cook yourself. I get you're more of a baker than a cook, but for some reason I'm seeing like creating is really important to you. You have to have other outlets aside from what you do as a teacher, because I feel like people often think, well, that's all he does, that's all he is. And there's so much more. I'm getting everything from drawing like comics or a comic book or comic strips. I'm also picking up books. Either you writing a book, maybe two books about just things in your life that have happened in the music industry, the music industry do's and don'ts. You ain't gonna spill too much tea because you could, but I feel like there's some things that you want to impart on the people. And I literally hear you speaking about, here's what I did wrong. Here's why I made my mistakes. I get a lot to do with you in empowerment. You want to empower your students, not just in terms of their voices, but self-esteem, self-worth, self-love, things like that. That's really important to you because I feel like you may not always show it, but I do get a sense where you go up and down with your sense of self sometimes. Because what I'm hearing is like too little, too much, not enough. And what I'm picking up is that you're I think you're on the right track, but your own self-doubt gets in the way. And I get a lot to do with body image. And I'm seeing you at one point being very skinny, like for you, being very, very thin. Um, and you're at a point now where you want to maintain it, but I also feel like you want to get bigger because some up here, I feel like this area, you want to get, you want to have some, and that's the only way I can describe it. I feel like you want to get bigger up here, and I see like a barrel chest. And it's so interesting because even though your look at times can be very intimidating, very teacher-like, you're actually quite shy, kind of quiet. You're someone that's in the not in the corner, but in the background. You're like you'll come out and do what you have to do if needed. But I honestly get someone who'd rather be at home on a crisp fall day, watching TV, I mean, I'm seeing sports mainly, like tennis, football, things like that, and just with a small group of people, intimate. That's the best way I would describe you on a deep level. I think you're a very intimate person. So I'm going to pull some cards and see what they have to say, because they may provide me more insight. So let's do that, shall we? We shall. Okay. All right. So all of your cards, except for one thus far, have all been reversed. I'm going to do a video about that too, by the way. Reverse cards are not bad. So I'm going to go with the card that's pointing out to me the most, which is this one. So we got the Empress in reverse. So what this is telling me is that this is about, I feel there are certain dreams, there are certain goals, personal development. You realize that you are forever and you will always be a work in progress. You're okay with being imperfect. You're really okay with that. You're like, listen, I may look, people think I'm this shit, but I got issues and I'm all right with it. You know what I mean? And I'm working on it. That's what this is telling me, is that you're working on things. Things are in development. I'm also seeing something to do with you in television. Um, television, either writing, directing, like there's something you're gonna end up doing with a camera, aside from what you do with YouTube, but you're gonna end up doing some other things. Because I definitely could see you being an actor. Um, and if you don't get in front of the camera, you're going to be behind it, because you're a very creative person. And I literally see you writing either treatments, or there's something you're going to be doing regarding television. So what this is telling me is that right now you are okay with things being kind of slow. You're okay with things being kind of, in development. But then at the same time, what this is also telling me is that even though things are in development, there are moments where you're like, okay, how long is this going to take? You know what I mean? There are moments where dealing with your own internal issues, I get sometimes like I was saying earlier, like burnout, even depression a little bit. You go through it and you're like, oh my God, like, but you push through. So I feel like that's what this is telling me, that right now, that it's okay to just be in it. You know what I mean? To just be bubbling under, that you don't always have to be in the front. You know what I'm saying? And you're okay with that. And right now, you kind of want that. You kind of want to be in the back, behind the scenes. You don't want to be in front of everything. So yeah, this is good. Um, okay. Now, another card that I got is the Magician. So this card indicates a problem. So what this is telling me is that you know where you want to go, but it's not that you don't have the wherewithal and the drive to get where you want to go. You have it. But I think what I'm getting is that what this card is telling me is that there are moments where you are conflicted, because I was going to say confused, but conflicted. There are moments where you're like, and that makes sense with the Empress card that I just pulled too, being in reverse, where it's like, I'm conflicted. I know where I want to go, but do I want to do I want, there are certain things that you don't want to sacrifice to get where you want to go, because for you creativity is like babies. See, creativity is like children. Your creativity is like a child, and you're like, I don't want to have to put baby number 1, 2, or 3 up on the chopping block in order for me to get to where I want to go. I know where I want to go, I know what I want to do, but I want to do it in a way that I can be proud of, number one, and that is within my integrity. So I definitely get a lot of that. And the thing of it is this: you don't have to not doubt yourself, but you don't have to question where you're going all the time. Just keep going the course. Slow and steady wins the race. You're right where you need to be. It may not always feel that way, but you are. Okay. Um, I'm gonna go with this one. So this card is the Ace of Swords, and this represents the past. So, and I know you guys can't see because the light is so bright. Hold on, let me put this light down, y'all. Hold on a second. Intermission, short break. There we go. Cut it down just a tad. So you guys can actually see. Well, maybe you guys can't see that. Okay, there we go. Now you can see it. Okay, so the Ace of Swords. Well, now there we go. Now you can see it. So, so the Ace of Swords. So what this is telling me, this is in reversed. So what this is telling me is that there have been changes in your life, maybe not physically, but mentally, in terms of how you communicate, who you communicate with, what you think. And it's been slow, in the past. It's been slow to take shape for you to really, what's the word I want to use? For you to not have an open mind, but I think for you to look at things from a different perspective. It's taking time. And you're one of those people where you question everything. You know what I mean? You honestly, really and truly, Mr. Arsenal, you would actually make a great philosophy major, or a great lawyer, or um, like anybody that or a great scientist, anybody that questions things, because you're very much a let me question it, let me look into it, let me research it. That's the energy I get from this card. So what this is telling me is that in the past, you are the kind of person, okay, I'll believe it, but in the past, you've not always trusted your own instinct, and that has gotten you in trouble. So now you're very slow to be like, okay, I'm just gonna trust that based on what you're saying. Now it's like, no, because in the past I neglected that and I got burned. You know what I mean? So that makes total sense. And maybe that's why sometimes in regards to this, you in turn, because of what you've gone through in the past, you doubt your direction of where you're going. So that does make sense. That makes total sense actually. But from what I'm picking up, sweetheart, you're doing the right thing. I just think sometimes you can be a little overly critical of yourself and analytical. Okay, so the last two cards that I drew, I'm gonna put them together, are the Page of Swords and the Five of Wands. So what this is telling me is that you're, it's funny. There are so many people that do what you do, so many vocal coaches, so many teachers, so many lecturers, so many people in the business that you're in the business of music and entertainment. But the one thing I'm picking up around you is that you're like, you know what? I can't worry about them. I have to worry about me. And now you approach your career, I think because now you have the freedom to do what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. You approach it with more maturity. You approach it with a clear head. You're not as competitive as you once were. You're not as analytical as you once were. You're not as quick to jump at anything. You're very much like you're not as overly analytical. There we go. You're not as quick to jump at anything now. You're like, no, if it don't fit, I'm gonna quit. You're very much like that now. So what this is telling me is that you're growing and you're gonna grow even more. And really this is also about not only your career and your work, but even just yourself, even you learning to say what's on your mind, but in a very mature way. Because trust me, honey, Mr. Arsenault has a mouth. He is not one to beat about the bush. Okay, he don't play that game. All right, but I just feel like for some reason he's now like, no, if I'm gonna be a diva, to quote my girl Phyllis Hyman, if I'm gonna be a diva, I'm gonna be nice. So I definitely get a lot of that, but I also see someone that's like, I want to expand. I get everything from reading up, I get everything from researching, I get everything from writing, just really expanding, and not just with what he does, but with just your life. Um, my goodness, travel is very important. I get a big connection to you in Europe, probably within the next year. Probably within by like March of next year, because they get number 3. So I feel like you're gonna end up doing some traveling overseas. And I also get a big Asian connection. I want to say Japan, because I hear Japan in my head. So I would not be surprised if next year you start doing some traveling out of America And not saying you haven't done this before, because you have, but I see you doing it more. But I think it's interesting how you can do the same thing, but you approach it in a different way. And that's what I'm picking up. I feel like this next year for you is going to be like, okay, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm not the same person. I've grown so very much. So it's almost like everything will be renewed. You know what I mean? Everything will be different. And I just feel like you're going to have more knowledge, more insight, more clarity. I hear you speaking. I feel like you're going to end up doing, I would not be surprised if you end up doing like a TED talk about voice, or about your um um what you went through in the music business. Like, I would not be surprised if you did something like that, because I see you wanting to inspire people. This is not just about, yes, it's about healing voices. That's part of it. But a big part of it for you is that you're like, no, babies, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. You know what I mean? And I feel like with a lot of your students, you're very much a tough love kind of person. You're like, listen, make it happen. You know what I mean? Get in there and do it. But I'm gonna push you. But I'm gonna push you in a way that I need it to be pushed. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna do it in a gentle way, in a way that you can handle. So yeah, I pick up a lot of that. And I also get that um I believe it or not, I don't know if you're into this or not, but I'm picking up a lot to do with ancestor veneration, ancestor worship, honoring them. I feel like you're gonna start, if you're not doing it now, you're going to start doing it a lot. I keep getting the number 4 around you. So probably either within the next month, or April of next year, or within the next 4 months, you're gonna really start really reconnecting. And you've always been connecting, but I think just connecting in a different way with your lineage, with your people, on both sides of your family, especially your father's side, and just really learning, knowing, figuring out traditions, just things that mean a lot to you. So I hope, Mr. Arsenault, I hope that this reading made sense. I hope it was on point. Even if it wasn't, let me know. If it was, let me know. That means a lot. If you guys have enjoyed this reading, I thank you guys so much for watching, for commenting, for liking, and most of all for subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to me. You guys have no clue how much your support means. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like a reading or a coaching session with me, with yours truly, Leo Brown, you can log on to my website, psychicleo.com, excuse me, that's psychicleo.com, and you can also follow me on various social media channels. Until next time, my sugar bears, have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?